This video will probably save you years of your life. And this is why boundaries are so important. Now, have you ever been told that you need to quote unquote settle? Have you ever been told that what you want is too much or standards are too high? Especially from quote unquote well-meaning friends, family, society at large. And basically they're implying that you're not quite enough for what you're wanting or your desires, assuming that those desires are truly coming from your heart, body, and mind and soul aligned, not just desires coming from quote unquote your egoic mind. I've talked about that in my previous post. Now, when someone is telling you to quote unquote settle, what they're implying is that what you're wanting, you're simply not enough for. You're not enough for your desires. And that really doesn't feel good. And when you don't have strong boundaries, you may be easily swayed and you may start following a path based on their boxes or what they think is possible. Now, when someone tells you to quote unquote settle, or that what you want is too much, or that you should want something else, they are in essence putting you into a box. What I mean by that is we human beings and other species operate at a certain level of consciousness. Everyone is different. Vibrations are different. And we may start seeing possibilities in certain level of awareness. And if we don't have a different level of awareness, we may not be able to see different possibilities beyond the problem itself. As Albert Einstein says, in order to come up with a solution, your consciousness had to rise beyond the level of the consciousness of that problem. This is what I mean. And so when someone tells you that something cannot be done or it's impossible, they're telling you from their current level of awareness, from their level of a box, of their box. But if you rise beyond that level of consciousness, you will start seeing something different. You will start seeing different possibilities. And what they think cannot be done can be done probably easily. And this is what evolution is about. And this is why when someone tells you to quote unquote settle, it's really wise to have that level of discernment and that strong boundaries to really understand where they're coming from, because in essence they're attempting to contort your ideas or what you want into their ideas of what's possible and their box. And this is particularly important because if you have gone through multiple failures as a founder, or multiple failures in relationships, especially those cold calls, maybe your dream investor dropped you, or your dream product didn't launch, or maybe your dream partner dropped you, whatever it is, right? You may start spiraling into this feeling of resignation, of disappointment, and this abyss. And it's not fun. In those really dark times, you may feel very desolate, you may feel very lonely. You may feel like, what's the point? And you may start feeling super resigned. And in those moments, that's when you're most susceptible to, quote unquote, the idea of settling. If you scroll past a post, you see some quote unquote guru telling you should just settle, you what you want is too much. Or quote unquote, someone, well-meaning friend will tell you, oh, maybe you should just do this. And these are the times when it's most trying, because that's when you start doubting everything from your self-worth to your self-confidence to what are you doing, and to feeling like a failure, etc., etc. And it's actually precisely during these times that's when boundaries are so important. Boundaries meaning knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing your desires, knowing what you do not want. And when you have those strong boundaries, they are basically a fort, a wall that prevents you from, being swayed by these outside influences. Because when you start becoming swayed by these outside influences and start doing things based on what other people think is possible instead of what is coming from your true internal guidance system or your true north, you may end up regretting and spending like years of your life doing something that is really not from your own self. And this is why, as I've said in many times, having the strong boundaries is so important to this. So, as I've said, in my own experience and in witnessing other people as a coach, it is heartbreaking when I hear people saying they should settle, because settling, quote unquote, simply doesn't work. It breeds resentment. And, because you're not truly following your true north. So for more, stay tuned on this Instagram channel, as well as come on over to my Substack. And I've got this long post that discuss this and go into details as to ways to unblock your subconscious mind and how to really own your boundaries, so that you don't fall into these external voices in terms of telling you to settle, etc. I'll talk to you soon.